and sponsored by the Daily Mirror and the Sunday Mirror, we are proud to present the main attraction of the evening, an international super middleweight contest at 12 stone, over 10 rounds each of 3 minutes duration. Your referee for the contest is Paul Thomas of Derby, your timekeeper Roy Bicknell, your British Boxing Board of Control still in charge, Dave Roden, and your matchmaker, Frank Turner. Presenting and introducing to you in the red corner with the red shorts from Lady Smith Natal, the reigning South African super middleweight champion, Tulani Sholoy Malinga! And ladies and gentlemen, his opponent in the blue corner with the red and the red striped shorts in Ilford, the former WBO middleweight champion of the world, Nigel! And the weighing of midday today, both boxers scale 12 stone exactly. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you.
So the referee then is Paul Thomas from Derby. Hasn't handled a world championship yet, but this is one of his biggies. And as Jim Rosenthal was saying, he's been a bit, for him, a bit laid back actually, Nigel Benn, and trainer Graham Mountain's been very pleased with him. On the other hand, Sugar Boy Malinga gave us, well, a really good fight, didn't he, with Eubank. Eubank wasn't in good form, I didn't think that live, but he still won all right. So this is scheduled for 10. And I wish you the best, because it will be a good performance actually if Benn can knock Malinga over. 40 fights, 336 rounds, and he hasn't been stopped in 11 years. And if we judge from the last fight, well, all those rounds and resisting being knocked out and assimilating blows, hasn't completely condemned all his talents. A good boxer, not really noted as a heavy puncher. But Benn actually, he doesn't mind being in with the heavy punches. It's the crafty characters that he has a bit of trouble with. So there you are, just in case you want to break down of the trunks. He's also wearing those sort of black cycle type shorts as well underneath the red, Benn. Saucy phone call, I understand, to Malinga last night from Chris Eubank saying, if you can win, I guarantee I'll defend my championship against you in South Africa. Well, there's only a minute gone and there's plenty of action, and Benn tucking those punches up well to the body there, trying to bring that guard down of the South African. But he's a good wily operator with what appears to be a good chin, although he was bowled over by Eubank, but he did well with really rubbery legs to get back up again, and it's a bit fortunate it was at near the end of the round anyway. Benn seems to have carried that weight from middleweight up to super middleweight. That's the 12 stone division, and they both came in at 12 stone, right on the nose. Seems to have suited him well. His well constructed body carrying that middleweight poundage, slim legs. One of the few natural punchers in the game, Jim Benn, isn't he? And I'm talking about worldwide now, not just Britain.
Yeah, tremendous natural power. When he knocked out Dan Sherry, I don't even really think he was looking for a payoff punch. He just came out itself. Tremendous puncher. But this is a good steady start from Benn. He's not as careless as we've seen him a couple of years ago. He's marching forward but picking his punches. Having said that, Malinga, I thought, would have got onto his bicycle and kept on the move, but he's standing his ground well, Reg. I think we're in for a tasty one tonight.
I'd have been Malinga, Jim, on the bicycle. I think the way Benn punches, I'd have jumped on a tandem to get out of the way. Because he really sickens him to the body with those blows, doesn't he? Well, he's laid out the game plans. He wants to fight Eubank, which is an obvious one. If not, he's willing to go back in with Iran Barkley, who's now champion again, and he knocked Barkley over in one round.
Malinga's getting through with too many punches in the opening round here for Benn's liking. I mean, Malinga's jab's been fairly accurate. A couple of right hands have landed home. I mean, Benn doesn't want to take too many chances. Nigel has been shaken once or twice.
Well, nice lively start. And, well, appreciative applause, I suspect, from the the crowd here at the indoor arena at Birmingham. And that's Graham Mountain in the corner there. Great amateur boxer, captain of the Olympic team back in Munich. And he seems to have been getting through to Benn's brain a little bit, because he's got a lot of boxing ability, actually, Nigel Benn. He won the ABA championships after all. And also got that little bit of grit and power, the great equaliser that he's got. He happens to be behind on points. He can always cancel out those arrears with the power of a punch. 2 losses, of course, against 32 wins and 29 stopped.
Ball is 10 seconds.
Second round then. And Paul Thomas waiting for the bell there. It was a bit late coming in. He's looking even sharper at the start of this contest than he did with Dan Sherry in the previous one. He had a good look round with Dan Sherry for a while, didn't he?
Yeah, but for me, he just took a few good clean shots, too many in the first round. I mean, these fellas are 12 stone, he's in with now, Reg. You can't afford to give them 3 shots. And Benn did take a couple, so he's going to have to get that forehead down a little bit lower and keep this fellow under pressure. You don't want a good technician like Malinga to get into any sort of rhythm.
Certainly Malinga confused Eubank. I mean, it was one of his weaker showings, I thought, and maybe he was forcing Eubank into a few mistakes that night, and instead of Eubank being not in good form. A minute gone in the second, and plenty of action.
Well, Benn got warned for a low shot there, Reg, but it looked all right to me. I don't think it fell all right to Malinga. It was a good left hand to the body.
Yeah, the referee didn't bother to stop to warn him, so he just wanted to remind him of it. Oh, there, if he throws him like that and Malinga happens to walk onto one, well, he's in trouble.
Yeah, Benn is looking sharp, Reg. See, Malinga has a long left jab, and Benn's leaving his chin a little bit unprotected. He's trying to sway back to draw the jab, but the jab's too long. There it goes again, catches Benn again.
And remember, in terms of pointing, should it go that distance, it's only the referee's decision here in Britain. There are no judges, being a non-championship fight, although it has all the merit of being one, I should think.
Benn's not tight enough for me, Reg. I like to see his defence is a little bit tighter. Good shot, he's troubled Malinga.
Yeah, just clubbed him with that right-hand shot. Like the way he's protecting himself behind the elbows, though. The old boy knows what he's doing at 32, doesn't he, and all that experience. Peekaboo style. Well, that's what Ali used to call the rope-a-dope there, but he's fighting back well off the rope, almost using it as a bit of a prop and a catapult there, Malinga.
Yeah, but you can see Malinga's been under pressure before, Reg. You cope with that perfectly, then come out and punching back.
Well, he's had some 3 world championship chances he's had, Jimmy. He's been a wee bit unlucky. The wrong places and the wrong opponents, as it turned out.
Well, already Reg is looking better than the Eubank Malinga fight. The action's better, the pace is better. I still feel Benn taking too many shots, Reg. He's not thinking about defence.
It's always this thing in the back of his mind, Jim, I must do better than Eubank. Round 3, and the makings of, well, a very interesting, are going to be hard fought, I think, Jim.
Yeah, already this looks like a good one, Reg. I mean, I'm surprised Malinga's tactics, standing his ground a lot more than I would have expected, and catching Benn with a lot of punches. But Benn looking sharp and looking strong. I think that left jab of Malinga is going to be a problem for Benn. As you see, Benn's coming straight in with his chin really unprotected, and he's mistiming. He hasn't quite got the range.
It's obvious Benn realises now, Jim, that he's got to get down to business. And this fellow in boxing parlance is no mug.
Malinga's looking even sharper than the last time we saw him, Reg. His left jab is really working a peach, although Benn's marching on more than Eubank did.
Strangely enough, Jim, although it was a hard fight, I think the experience of Malinga in the Eubank fight, it turned out good for him, because he'd only had one contest in the previous year.
Yeah, and it's given him the confidence too. He's taken a world champion to a split decision. So he's certainly boxing with plenty of confidence.
When he made Benn miss there, he shot in a decent right-hand punch too. Not particularly powerful looking, but nicely connected.
Just a little bit worried about Benn's defence. It just looks a little bit loose to me. He's so intent on getting his punches home.
Almost simultaneous connection there with the right hand blows there, Jim. That's going to be difficult, whichever one lands first. Good shot again there by Malinga.
Benn's doing what Malinga wants him to do, Reg. He's showing the punches, throwing at Malinga, countering well. Benn's going to have to draw that jab. When Benn leads off, he's been pinned with the jab counter punch.
Well, a couple of rounds is enough for Malinga to have tasted Benn's punches all right now. And I don't suggest that he hangs his chin out at all, and he certainly doesn't, with the way he keeps his hands high. But he is gaining confidence in the way he can draw Benn on, Jim, with the counters, as you said earlier.
Yeah, and he's set up nicely. His chin's nice and low, Reg. At all times he's ready just to step back slightly as Benn comes in. Benn's finding it difficult just to catch him with any solid shots. A good performance, a good punch from Benn then. A little bit high, but good punch.
And working in the corner there is Nick Durand from South Africa. His dad, Clive, played for Wolverhampton. He was actually born in Warsaw, the second. And on the outside there's a couple of Englishmen there, Arthur Urry and Don Anderson. Well, actually Scott, to be fair to Don. Jim?
Well, good action from the first bell, Reg. Both giving and taking good shots. Benn just a little bit reckless for me. Maybe his chin a little bit unprotected and a little bit high.
Yeah, there it is again. He's just searching for that punch, Benn, trying to drop one over the lead, and doesn't always work. He's walking onto right-hand punches. So no doubt trainer Mountain there has spotted that, and he reads the fight well, Graham Mountain. He should do. He's been experienced enough, certainly in the amateur ring. Round 4. Remember, scheduled for 10. And just to repeat, no judges. That's the referee decision. Should it go the full distance? That's on the half-point scoring system in British rules, not the full point as you have in world boxing. You can have a full point if you win a round very clearly.
I think Benn's going to have to go back a little to his older style, Reg, because if he allows this fella to get into a routine, if he allows him to dictate a good, slow, steady pace, he's going to have problems, especially with that left jab. So I think Benn's going to have to break the rhythm and just set a real hot pace.
Nicely built fighter, the South African, didn't square-shouldered, keeps those elbows tucked into the body well.
Yeah, that was a cheeky little uppercut he caught Benn with then too. When Benn makes a mistake, Malinga's making him pay for it, Reggie. He's really looking far sharper than the last time we saw him. Oh, see, every time Benn makes a mistake, he's pinned. Benn is not tight enough, Reg. Not enough defence there.
Well, hopefully for Benn, he's maybe gaining a bit more respect now for this fellow. And just watch the idea of Eubank going the full distance with him now, and him trying to stop Malinga. So just get on with the business, and that's for him hoping it happens, the final punch.
Don't like the way Benn's head's been knocked back with these long punches, Reggie.
Yeah, They're very long. They travel a long way, Jim, but I'm afraid he's getting the message, isn't he, Ben?
Yep, and you don't have to be a big puncher, Reg. If 12 stones hitting you regularly in the chin, it's going to knock some of the fight out of Ben. He really has to pay attention to what's coming back at him here. Ben can't pin him down, Reg. He's throwing big shots and they're not landing.
Yeah, he weaves well, and he weaves forward, Jim. That's a bit gutsy of Malinga to do that. He doesn't pull his head back.
See, this
Comes
is the
inside, doesn't he?
Yep, this is the kind of fight Malinga likes. He likes the other fellow to do the leading off, and he can do the clever stuff and come back with the counters. He's quite happy with what's taking place here. Ben's going to have to try to get him out of that rhythm.
Round 5 then. I'll tell you what, Jim, I think maybe the stealing of good punches by Malinga might have just given him the edge so far.
Yeah, well, he's just had a good round, Reg. I would say a bit even at the moment. But he is the one that, what's happening in there is suiting him at the moment. Ben's leading off, allowing him to box his natural fight. Ben's trading jabs with him at the start of this round, and not coming out on top.
Good competitive fight, this. And after last week, good boxing with Conor McMillan and Mauricio Stecker, which rescued the fight game, as it were, from a real bad spell of mismatches and disappointing endings. It's nice to have the second one on the turn now. A good competitive fight, whatever happens now. It was all right before. The lovers of the fight game have to have a sense of humour, and it's obligatory.
That was more of a stumble. A body shot went home, Reg, but it still looked like a stumble. Don't think he was hurt then. If Ben's going to march straight forward the way he's been doing, he should be doing it with his hands up in front of his face. More of a tight defence. You can't march forward with your chin unprotected.
So he's trying to draw Malinga into a bit of a rough battle now. He's trying to rough him up a bit now, Ben. That suits him, but it won't suit Malinga. He's a little bit of an old head, I tell you. Knows his game, and obviously stays in good shape.
See, Malinga doesn't mind his back to the ropes, Reg. Not too many fighters can perform at their best with their backs pinned to the ropes, but he can. He keeps his chin out of harm's way, comes back with a nice putt. There he goes again. Accurate counters.
He's very good inside. I mean, Ben's nagging away at punches. They're like he's like a dog that's burrowing for the bone, the way he slings punches to the body like that. But the correct ones are also coming back from the South Africa.
Ben wants to think about trying to pile some points up. The clean shots are landing on Ben. Malinga has the tight defence that Ben needs, and his counters are getting straight through to Ben's chin. There goes another one.
Well, they could have fight on a handkerchief there, Jim, or in a telephone booth. They don't need the whole of this ring at this stage.
Ben's wasting energy, Reg, because these big shots are not getting home, and he's taking punches cleanly in the chin. You can't do this against a 12-stone man.
No, exactly. As I said earlier, not known as a great puncher, but he's proving me wrong tonight, Malinga.
Reg, he's on the verge of putting Nigel in serious trouble here. These punches are going straight home. Ben could find himself being stopped, Reg. These punches that are bang on target.
I'm surprised Ben allowed himself to get pinned on the ropes.
Yes, Ben is stunned at this moment. Ben is badly stunned at this moment. They're going to have to do a job on him in that corner.
Yeah, he went back there on rocky legs all right. I think the reason he was pinned in the corner there is because at that point he couldn't move, actually. He didn't want to move right away. Enjoys a rough battle all right, Ben, but as Jim Watt rightly says, he might be found wanting if he's not careful there. But it's a bit of a turn up for the book. And in replay, Jim, this is obviously pinned on the ropes.
See, this is where he wasn't really trading punches, because his own punches weren't getting home and he was taking back the counters. See, sometimes Nigel just likes to have a fight too much. It wasn't good sense carrying on with this little exchange, because he was taking the clean punches back. And that's the kind of round that takes a lot out of a fighter. Benn is going to have to recover himself and get back on, maybe try to have an easier round this round.
Second half, round 6.
Round 6 of the scheduled 10-rounder. And the old Dart Destroyer himself there, finding himself in quite a bit of competition and trouble with the South African Sugar Boy Malinga, who's nicknamed Sugar Boy by his own brother Maxwell, who's also a professional fighter.
Well, Reggie, I think Benn was on the verge of going down in the last round because he was badly stunned. He was taking punches, clearing his chin, and you could see the stunned look on his face, and he staggered going back to the corner. So he's going to have to show more care. Right from the first round, Reggie hasn't been careful enough for me.
Well, still time to alter things a bit, Jim, and sometimes one punch can change. In fact, very often where Benn's concerned, one punch can cancel out any arrears. But what a good campaigner he is, the South African. You know, fighting away from home as he has had to do in World Championships, 3 of them, and always been a very competitive fighter in those.
See, Benn suits him much more as an opponent than Eubank did, because Benn's marching straight forward, trying to land the shots. Eubank was as awkward as he is to get home punches, so he's much more successful here. Benn's going to have to just do it the hard way. There's no easy way to beat Malinga, certainly not tonight. And we could see that jab was going to give him problems right from the off, and it's still giving him problems.
Conserves his energy well, Malinga. He just tries not to throw wasted punches. Minute to go in the 6th. He doesn't always need to use his height there, Malinga. He's just a bit taller than Benn, but he's very good the way he just ducks inside a punch.
Yeah, but he crouches down, Reg, and leans forward from the waist, so that gives him the extra few inches, and his jabs are getting home. Good jab back from Benn then. Full credit to Benn, Reg, coming back and have a decent round here, because he took a lot of punches in the previous round. I think he's just nicked his round on the work rate. Yeah. Full credit, because I thought he was going to struggle. Yeah,
coming up to the end of the round, and he's got a good left jab when he puts his mind to it, Ben, and he hurts with it too. It's a bit of a pole of a punch.
He shouldn't be leading with right hands, Reg, against this man. Well, a decent round for Benn, and full credit to him for having it.
Been on the deck before, of course. Benn managed to get up and win. Certainly the Anthony Logan fight was incredible. He spun around on the deck, got up and won. And there's a good Benn punch coming up now, Jim.
A bit more control about Benn's work in this round. He didn't take as many chances. A good right hand. Didn't trouble Malinga. Nice little body shot to follow. Yet Benn got his act together a little bit better then.
Well, there it is, the end swell. They keep that little sort of doll's house iron, I call it, into a ice bucket, and when there's a swelling they leave some pressure on there, and that's what Graham Mountain is doing. Just checking that the gum shield's in. It's obligatory now to wear gum shields in boxing, and if it comes out, the referee can replace it, but he can wait for when there's the action stops to pick it up. It doesn't have to pick it up immediately. And of course, none of that 3 knockdowns in 1 round by any boxer in the fight's automatically over. That's only in WBO rules at the moment. So by the 7th now, it's really is running a bit close, Jim.
Yeah, but certainly close, Reg, because Benn, as I said earlier, not enough defence, taking too many clean punches. But he's changed his act a little bit more concentration. But I still feel not enough protection in front of his chin. But Benn's jab is now working far better than it was in the early stages.
I suspect that's the sort of terse corner orders were coming up, the sort of thing that I would have thought trainer Mountain would want him to do, Jim. Was to jab his way out of it, find his range a bit with the left-hand jab.
Yeah, well, Benn came into the ring tonight as though he expected to blast Malinga out. And I think that's the reason he was a little bit careless, but he has far more respect for Malinga than he had when he came in. But there's that straight nagging jab straight into Benn's face again.
See, Malinga showed it in the Eubank fight, and he's showing it here, Jim, and he's got what my colleague Brian Moore would call stickability. He hangs in there all the time, gets on with it.
See, Reg, these punches are so cleanly landed that it has to take steam out of Benn. And Benn can't afford that. The couple of fights that Benn has lost is really because he's run out of steam. Couldn't go the same pace as the other man.
Well, he got himself up a fair old head of steam at one stage there, Ben. Now he's having to settle down and try and outbox as well as outpunch this fella.
A good right hand. That's one of the few right hand leads that Benn's managed to get home.
Yeah, he just got a bit closer, Jim, before he let that one go. That's the secret of that.
Well, this has been a battle of the jabs, and Benn hasn't done too badly. I'm not saying he's won the round. This has been a close round, Reg. But it's not bad trading jabs with this man.
He's not retrieving himself. He throws a punch occasionally and misses Benn, and then he hangs there for a second or two instead of pulling back right away.
See, that's the difference. Malinga, a natural counter puncher. When every mistake Benn makes, you see Malinga punishes him for that mistake.
So coming up to the end of the 7th. Round 8 coming up. And I tell you, I think Paul Thomas is probably one of the biggest in at the moment, one of the best fights he's handled probably at top level. He's going to have a job sorting this one out, Jim. I would think there's only one round in it. It could go at this stage either way.
Yep, very close. I thought at Benn's bad round, Malinga just nicked in front, but Benn came back with a decent round in. The previous round was pretty even. So the fight is more or less level at this moment, Reg. I'd like to see Benn making better use of his right hand as a defensive shield when he's trading jabs. There's still not enough protection on his head. Benn's jab beginning to work well, Reg.
Good, reliable warrior, though, isn't he? This very personable Zulu, actually, Malinga, born in Ladysmith. And in the South African's corner there, just picking up, I can hear them calling, "Get busy, sugar."
Well, Benn a little bit more accurate with the right hand now. He's slipping the lead, getting the right hand home. So maybe just a little drop in pace now beginning to suit Benn a little bit.
There's one thing, Jim, Benn definitely can't afford to blow this one. I mean, if the Eubank fight doesn't come off, and he's been warned that he's got to make up his mind by the WBO, that Benn could go on to fight the American Tim Littles. So this could wreck that.
So you always see the difference in the defences. Malinga always the hands in the position to block the punches. Benn all the way through letting too many punches through his defences.
Very well taught he's been, Malinga, over the years. He must have been. Obviously boxing family has helped. All the little rewards that he has. He's got a maroon Mercedes at home. He calls that his status symbol. So good luck to him. He's done it the hard way.
See, Malinga is back into that routine where he's just standing ready to pounce with the jab. Benn has to break the rhythm again. He's done it before, he'll have to do it again. See, there he settles down again like a cat, just waiting for Benn to make that little mistake.
He's got that sort of hunter's patience, hasn't he, Jim Malinga? He said, OK, I'll just wait until the target gets next to me before I release the punches. Well, there it is, the unofficial shower bath there is getting from trainer Nick Durand. And Arthur Harry there, I didn't drop the H, that's how he spells his name, but just giving it the treatment, Jim.
Yeah, well, Benn's still taking shots as he comes forward, but his right hand was working better, and he always come back with punches, thankfully. Wasn't taking punches without reply.
Has to buy himself an off licence, apparently, in South Africa, this fellow. He calls it a bottle shop. Well, to use the axiom of the game now, he certainly doesn't lack any bottle. So the game gets harder as it goes along, obviously, but they're two well-conditioned boxers, these, and both absorbing punches well.
Second half.
Round 9. And again a reminder, no judges if it goes to the 10 rounds. Paul Thomas of Derby will be the sole arbiter.
Well, Benn is more suited to working at a pace than Malinga, so I think it'd be a good idea the last couple of rounds for Benn really to set a pace and just don't give this fellow a split second time to settle down. I thought possibly Benn just about nicked the 8th round, but again another close round.
Yeah, we don't normally try to sit on fences, Jim. That way you can get splinters in your backside, but
well, I thought
it's so close to sort this one out. It's interpretation. Boxing's so subjective, really. We're saying, wonder how Paul Thomas will be looking at this one, and in fact how the viewers will be.
Well, I thought the 8th just maybe nicked Benn slightly in front again. He is doing most of the work. He's still making mistakes and being punished for those mistakes. He's been doing most of the work, but again in this round, the 9th, he's been a little bit careless again, and he's settled back down. He can't allow Malinga to dictate this pace. The jab's been a terrible problem for Benn all the way through.
Well, there were a few wise guys around before this fight, Jim, that thought Malinga would be a pushover, Benn. They were certainly wrong. Look at those double jabs. The postman's not there. Double jabs.
Yeah, well, Benn's throwing this round away, Reg. He's not getting anything home, and that jab is thumping straight onto the target.
Well, there's no use Benn looking for any favours with the home person.
That was a tremendous right hand there.
Yeah, exactly. And a good round here, Malinga.
If Malinga steps up the pace, he could have Benn in trouble again, because see, Benn's head's been knocked back with these punches, and this is what happened earlier in the fight when he was pinned on the ropes. Malinga, for his own benefit, should charge now. This round is taking a bit out of Benn.
He'll shake his head there a bit, Jim.
See, there's no protection. Look, absolutely no defence whatsoever. Head too high. And look at the way Malinga's standing, crouched down, the shoulders up and the chin down. Benn has never had enough of a defence tonight.
He's never been the greatest of defensive fighters, Jim, but he's almost got himself out of trouble, except against Michael Watson and Chris Eubank, of course.
Well, Reg, Nigel has been rocked a good few times with punches to the chin, so you would think he would have that chin buried in his chest, but that's not how it's been tonight.
One to go. So now how are they going to wind him up there? The ice pack's on the neck, and the wash and brush up treatment. And now Ram Mountain's got to tell him, well, listen, this has got to be close enough for argument. At least that's how Jim Watt and I see it from the commentary position. Jim?
I thought the 9th round squared it up again. Yep, I thought it squared it back up again for Malinga. Had Benn one round in front after 8, but Malinga here, as you can see, good clean shots right through. I almost said right through Benn's defence, but Benn doesn't have a defence to punch through. So for me, Malinga, the fight bang on level again. All hinges on the last round here.
I should think the South African corner are pretty pleased with their man. He's done exactly what they wanted from him. He's resisted and has taken the best shots of the old Dart Destroyer himself. 10th and final round.
Well, Reg, I just wonder if Benn has another big round left. He looked very weary in the 9th round. Malinga had, for me, his best round. I just wonder if Benn has one real good round left. Very weary looking indeed.
Always so composed, Malinga. Always, as you say, Jim, had the hands always in good position. And he's only scored 12 stoppages or knockouts in 33 wins, Malinga. But he's got through with all kinds of punches here. Now, how is Paul Thomas's card looking there? Remember the half-point system, but he should raise the hand of the winner directly at the end of the round. There'll be no collecting of cards, or he shouldn't have to tot up his own card. He should know where he stands now at the end of the 9th. In fact, he must know where he stands.
Benn is not producing the driving last round that I feel he needs, Reg.
No, it looks as though Malinga's going to get it.
Well, I would say Benn needs a big 10th. He's not having it as yet. They're both obviously feeling very tired. But Benn's still getting caught with these little sharp counters.
See that moving from side to side. Smart work of this Malinga. Good feet.
Well, nobody's really the boss in this last round. Malinga nagging away with the little shots. But Benn really very, very weary.
So 1 minute to go. What a good finish. Been a good competitive fight, Jim. I've enjoyed this. Have you?
Reg, it's been far better than most of the World Championship fights we've seen recently. It's hard to believe that there's not a world title at stake. This has been a cracking 10-rounder. Benn trying that, just get that right hand on, just that final go for the knockout. Far too often Reg has been caught bang on clean with these punches from Malinga, with his head in the wrong position.
So now, is this going to be the big blow for Benn for his challenge for a world championship after this? We'll find out now. It is a close one, but he's had a good round in the last there, Malinga. No, Benn's got it. And I think Malinga's saying, and certainly the trainer is going over there saying what kind of result was that, but it was close enough for argument. Well, Jim Watt and I just made, we thought Malinga just stole it. Now, we'll see if we can get the scoring. All sorts of friendly applause in the ring with each other, making up there. Here it comes. Half a point, 1 round.